Mishnah on Memhei on 45b, the new parak Shutfin, and we'll do the Mishnah. I'll try to speak out the round. Basically,
You try to
speak out the rounds.
Oh,
So the whole page is basically a big run.
wow.
Okay. So the Mishnah starts off like this. Thank Hashem that first of all, thank Hashem that we're able to learn every day. That's first of all learning. We should have some English meaning. The Mishnah says, "Hashutfim shenadru hana zemizeh." Shutfim are partners, and they took a vow from each other that they're not going to have benefit from one another. So normally that would be fine. You just avoid the other person. But over here that they're partners, so it makes things very complicated. And what's the issue? If there's, let's say, a courtyard that they own together, the courtyards in those days were in front of the houses. They each had their own house, but the courtyards were shared. You know, like in a complex, a building complex. So the public areas are jointly owned. So asurim lekanes lechatzer. The first opinion here says that no one can go into the courtyard. You can't even walk on that property because it belongs to the other person. It belongs to you as well, but it belongs to the other person. Because it belongs to the other person, and you took a vow that you're not going to have benefits from him, so you can't walk on it. Well, Rabbi ben Yaakov, Rabbi ben Yaakov, his view is different. His view is that each person that walks into the courtyard is only walking into his own part of the courtyard. He's not walking into his friend's part. He's walking into his part. So that should be fine. Okay. Now, the Ran introduces this with two concepts. First of all, we have to accept over here that viter, things that are normally forgiven. Remember, we had that with the storekeeper that throws in an extra few cookies or something into the bag. That when it comes to someone that takes a vow, that's prohibited. Someone that takes the viter, even though it's such a small amount, it's a minuscule amount, but nevertheless, when someone takes a vow prohibiting benefit, even a viter would be prohibited. That's his first point. The second point is that there's a strong possibility that the machlekes here between the Tanakama and Rabbi ben Yaakov has to do with breira. Now, breira is a theoretical concept, halachic concept of what's going to happen later. Retroactively, we already make believe it happened now. How would we apply this? Let's say we had it in Erevin. If someone says, I'm not sure which side the Chacham is going to come to on Shabbos. And I would like to go outside the city, 2,000 amas, to be able to hear the drasha, because it would give the drasha like in a big open area. So he puts an Erev to one side, to the east. He puts another Erev to the west. And he says, whichever side the Chacham comes, that should be my Erev. Now, the only problem is that the Erev needs to take effect by Ben Hashmashas, twilight on Shabbos. But he doesn't know. But because later on we're going to find out. So we say retroactively by Ben Hashmashas, it was already decided. So we can accept, if you hold Yesh Breira, we can accept that that would be acceptable. We could say that that's acceptable. Now, the way we would view it is like this.
No, thank you or anything from this woman? Isn't that weird?
So I'm not sure why it has to be like this, but the Ran starts off with, we'll see in the Gemara why. He starts off by saying that we're dealing here with the courtyard that doesn't have enough area to actually divide it up. It's not large enough to actually split it. For some reason, we'll see it. We have to see it. Wait for the Gemara. But if it would be large enough to divide it, then everyone would hold that each partner cannot walk into the other partner's area, cannot walk into the courtyard at all because it's the other partner's area. We have to wait for the Gemara for that. But here, say like this, that Rabbi Eliezer, is a machlekes here, Rabbi Eliezer in the Tanakama. If one partner can go into the other partner's, can go into the public property, public area, the shared property, because the common areas, because he took a vow that he's not going to have benefit from another guy. So if you say Breira means that that what would happen later, a theoretical division of this property is already divided now. So then we could say Rebbe Ben Yaakov is correct, that it's already divided now, the theoretical division. It's ultimately, it can't be divided anyway. But the theoretical division, we could say, is already given now, and he's going into his property. Now, I'll explain this a drop more in a moment, but first I want to develop it how the Ran develops it. But if I say no, if I say that we don't say Breira, then we would say that it's all mixed together and you can't go into the property. Now the Ran asks right away, he says, I don't understand. I can take a vow to forbid anything that you own on myself. I can also take a vow that I can forbid anything that I own on you. But I can't take a vow that anything that you own is forbidden on you. Right? That's totally out of my reach. So how over here can we say that one partner can make the other partner's rights forbidden on him if he has rights to go into that property? How could one partner make his property forbidden on him? Right? He has the rights to go in there. It's a common area, and because of that, he has the rights to do it. So basically, what one partner is doing, what each partner here is doing, is that he's telling the other person that what you own is forbidden on you, and that's not acceptable. So the Ran explains like this: he divides up ownership of partners into two parts. There's the Kinyan Aguf, and there's the Shibud. Shibud would be like Kinyan Paris. There's the actual ownership. They each own part of this, which it's undetermined what they own. It's not. It's everyone owns every area. So there's a Kinyan Aguf, and then there's the Shibud. In the Shibud, what he calls the Shibud is the rights that the person has to use the other person's area to get to his area or whatever. In other words, you're allowed to use the whole courtyard if the other guy isn't there. When you're bringing in your things, it's not that you only have half of the courtyard. You have the whole courtyard. Because he gives you those rights. You have rights to the even the part of the courtyard that's not yours. So he says like this: the shibud, what he calls the shibud, which means the rights that you have, that actually is a part of the courtyard that belongs to the other person, and he's just giving you those rights. So when that person says that you can't have benefit from me, it's not that the courtyard itself is the problem. It's the rights that you have to his property that he's giving you, and now he's making it forbidden. So now you don't have the rights. What was the question and the answer? The question was is that the rights belong to Ruvain, let's say. That's what we thought. And the Ran answer is that no, the rights are being given to you by Shimon. He's letting you do that. And therefore, when he forbids it, so then it becomes forbidden. Okay. Now we enter into an issue over here. We're going through the Ran. There's a problem. According to this, we have an argument between the Chachamim, the Tanakama, and Rabbi Ben Yaakov regarding Breira. Do we say that we view it as it's divided already now, even though it's not? We can view it like retroactively, sort of like from now it's already divided, or do we say that we don't say Breira, and every part of this is really both of yours, and because you can't go into his, who are we going to paskin with? So Rabbi Ben Yaakov usually gets the halach. Rabbi Ben Yaakov is Mishnasi Kavanaki, right? Is perfect. We always pass on Rebbelas Ben Yaakov, which means that we would say Yesh Breira. The only problem is we have Gemaras all over the place that say that Midairaisa we hold Ein Breira. It's only in rabbinic laws that we say Yesh Breira, but in Daraisas, which would be a vow, we would say Ein Breira. So we have a contradiction in Psak. So the Ran quotes Rabbeinu Tam that says that you know what we're talking about over here. The truth is that really we hold Ein Breira. And this, that it's Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov's opinion, yes, we're going to paskin like Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov, but not because of Yesh Breira. We're going to paskin like Rebbe Elazar ben Yaakov because this whole concept is based on Viter. And Viter, what Viter meant, that those few extra cookies that you throw in, that what a person forgoes is aser. But really, Viter is mutter. And you can walk on the other person's property. That's nothing. That's not a real benefit to walk on his, if it's in the courtyard. We mentioned before that it's a problem. Okay, but we're going to pass in that Viter is mutter. Anyway, the Re comes along, says, what? Viter is mutter? We have all these Gemaras that say Viter is aser. Can't say Viter is mutter. He says, really, we're going to pass in that Yesh Breira. What does he do with those Gemaras? That's going to be with the other Gemaras that hold that Ein Breira, that's going to be a problem. The Ran himself has an interesting explanation here, and this is like the bulk, the bottom of the Ran. He says there's different types of Breira. Depends on what we're talking about. It says over here, Breira is usually that I'll find out later what happened. Retroactively, I'll say that already took place before. It says over here, I don't need to do that. Over here, since a person can sell something for a time limit, it's yours until a certain time, and then afterwards it belongs to the other person. If we would say that it's yours for a certain time, then afterwards the person can say that. So also when these partners are partners to an area, even though one of them can own the whole area at a certain time, what it's happening is both of them are equal partners, 50-50. But we're going to see that one of them is going to use the whole area when he brings in his things. He went shopping, he uses the whole area. Yeah, because for that time he owns the whole area. So the way we're dividing this is not just in area of 50%, but it's also we're dividing it by time. So it gets very complex of what this division really is. So over here we can say it's not that it's a breira later on. Which area you went into? Oh, later on we're going to find out that that half of the courtyard was yours, and we're going to say that that's the part that you went into. You went into only your own part. We're going to find that out later. He says, no, it is yours. Whatever part you use at every moment is yours from now. It's not a breira that's going to be lemafreya. Later on, we're going to find out something. It's already a breira now. It's already, every part that's used tells me that that's yours. If you're using it, it's yours. So this is an easier type of breira, and therefore, even though normally we won't say breira, over here it's an easier breira, we'll say breira.
What was the Ram's problem with the mission? So he had to go through this whole and so much time trying to break it down. What didn't he understand about the mission? To me, the mission sounds relatively straightforward.
Well, I would have liked to learn the Mishnah.
If I don't have the Ram, I can understand the Mishnah.
Right.
You can.
Why
Yeah.
not?
I would have learned the Mishnah like this.
How can one partner on his own dissolve the partnership? They each own an undivided interest in every square,
Right.
whatever. And what really Eliezer is saying is the one partner can retroactively dissolve this piece of the partnership. And if you're going to say this, then what if one says, well, the partnership bought a cow that we're going to buy, that we're going to sell. I retroactively dissolve that.
Right.
And maybe the way I answer the Mishnah should not be one guy, they were partners, and they both agreed about not having each other. Not one partner.
Oh, you're seeing they both agree
Yeah.
to dissolve.
Well,
Yes, that should not be both partners. Both.
Is that
yeah, they are both doing this. Now,
Both partners say we're not going to have each other. Okay, so then,
Question, so the only
So that
question
one
you
guy
have
telling
is
me
how can you do it retroactively?
no, so what's the issue? What's the problem?
Yeah, I would have learned this
I
very
understand the
simple.
literal mission.
Yeah, I would have learned it just like this, that the machlekes is what is the meaning of partners? Is the meaning of partners that they each own everything, or is
Each
the mean own
100%.
half? If they each own everything, then I would say it's a problem here because you're also going into the other person. If they each own half, then you would say, I'm going into my half. I don't know about yours.
No,
Yours is
actually,
nothing.
beginning, let's just understand that they each own have access to 100%. And Rabbi says they own 50-50.
And then, oh yeah, right. They each own 50-50, right?
So then for you,
Right,
it's your share,
exactly.
it goes to your share.
Exactly. And that's how I would have understood this, and it would have been simple, right? Right.
I
The
don't know,
machlekes over here would be what's the taich should.
I mean, this took a long time to write. Went into this in great length.
Yeah.
But clearly, you must have had a real problem with the mission.
Right.
It was something that was really bothering you that you didn't understand.
Okay. The next point is Shnei Masurim Lahamid Rechaim. We're on Memvav. Shnei Masurim Lahamid Rechaim V'Tana L'Gadol Tana Geilim. They can't do these things in the public area, in the common area. Now, what are these things? They can't put up an oven, a mill, and they can't bring their chickens in. Now, they do this all the time, but it's because this one does it, so the other person says, "I'll let you do it also." In the common area, sometimes there's like you leave your bags outside, you leave things outside in the common area. You're not supposed to.
Leave the bikes.
They leave the bikes there, right? You're not supposed to, but because the other person does it, so you can do it too. Officially, you're not supposed to. So when they take a vow, then what's really happening is that the person is being meichel. He's giving you that permission. That's already not allowed. He's giving you that permission. It's not like you have rights to that. This is without rights. You just do it anyway. So then you're not allowed to do it. You follow? The person is forgoing his rights.
So if you said, who owns it now? Who's responsible for it?
Still both responsible for it.
Yeah, they're still partners.
They
Just
can't
this is a
benefit.
certain type of activity which is officially not supposed to be done in the courtyard. They always do it anyway, but because they took a vow not to benefit from each other, now they can't do that. Yeah. Now we jump back to a case which seems to have no chiddush. The Ran mentions that. Let's say only one took a vow from his friend. Like Kanis Lachatzer, the Tanakama holds he can't go into the courtyard. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says, he can say, I'm going into my part of the courtyard, not into yours. Now, we already said if they both took a vow, then the Tanakama holds they both can't go in. And Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says they both can go in. And they each say, I'm walking into mine. Now we say a case where if one took a vow, then the Tanakama holds he can't go in. And the Rebbe says he can go in. He says, I'm going into mine. So this really doesn't seem to be a chiddush here. So it has to do, the reason why this is mentioned is because of the next case. However, we do force the one that took the vow to sell his portion.
No, the one that the vow was forced upon.
Okay,
Neuter, right?
There's two opinions in the Rishonim how this works. Of course, what it's really referring to is the one, if the person took a vow that I will not have benefit from you, then he is the one that's forbidden and he's the one that took the vow. That would be the easy case of the Mishnah. The problem is if they took the vow the other way. They took the vow that you cannot have benefit from me. Now we're going to force the other guy to sell his property, to sell his rights because the other person took a vow. That's not so simple. Maybe we force the person that took the vow to sell. And that way, when the other partner goes in, he's not having benefit from him. You follow? Then it becomes a machlekes. That's going to be a machlekes rishonim if the vow was on the other person benefiting from who we're going to force to sell. Who's the neider? Neider is the one that took the vow. But we can say that the case is because he took the vow that I will not benefit from you. So he's the one that took the vow and he's the one that the prohibition is on. So we can force him to sell because he's the guilty party here. Now the issue over here is,
Didn't we read Mudar yesterday differently?
yeah, that was the Madir and the Mudar.
Right.
This is the Neider. Yeah.
You know, okay.
Yeah. We're only doing this, forcing him to sell, because he's the only one that's prohibited. So what's going to happen is he's going to see the other one doing all these activities in the property. He may get jealous and want to do them himself. So we force him to sell. If they both prohibit, then no one is going to be doing what they're not supposed to be doing in the property. He's not going to see anything that is, it's not fair. He's not going to say that because it's both prohibited. So then we don't force him to sell. Whatever they do, I don't know how they're going to do this, but whatever. According to everyone, they can't put up the rechayim, they can't do the normal thing. Chickens, they must have had chickens in the yard. Everyone had chickens in the yard, right? Right. They have for sure had chickens, even though that not necessarily does the partner is the partner happy with that, but they must have done that. Right. Right. If someone from the marketplace was not allowed to have benefit from, let's say, Reuven and Shimon, he wasn't allowed to have benefit from Reuven. Okay, this Levi, he has a vow that he's not going to benefit from Reuven. Well, he goes to the courtyard, says, "He can't go in because Reuven owns half the courtyard. Wherever you walk, you're walking on Reuven's property." I'm not going into your property, Reuven. I'm going into Shimon's property. I'm not walking into yours. I'm going into Shimon's. That's Rabbi Ben Yaakov's view, which if you look at partnership differently, then you would say he's going into his 50%. Yeah, there's a discussion here if he's going in for, not for the benefit of Shimon, he's going in for his own benefit. Is that also part of the rights that Shimon definitely has rights that movers or workmen that he needs are allowed to come in. But does he also have rights that people that need him are allowed to come in? Yeah, that's a discussion here. The Ran mentions that. Let's say someone took a vow not to have benefit from his friend, but his friend, Shimon, has a bathhouse, and he also has an olive press, or a wine press, I don't know, that's in the city, but it's rented out. So, if he still has rights to it, sometimes he rents it out, but he still gets to use it when he needs it. So it's rented out. If he still has some rights to it, then it's usher. Then he can't go into this. Reuven can't go into that bathhouse because Shimon is still has rights to it. If he rented it out entirely, so now it's just basically owned by the person that rented it, not by Shimon, because he's the one that's managing it and he has the full rights. Then it's mutter, then Reuven can go in there. Okay. Someone tells his friend, your house is like a sacrifice to me. I can't go into your house. Your field is like a sacrifice. I can't buy your field. Well, mace, if the person dies, Shimon dies. Shimon sells it to someone else. Then Reuven can go in there, because if you notice, his wording was your field, your house, because now it's not his anymore. Now it's the inheritors, or he sold it. So then he is allowed to go in. But let's say he says, he says that he's going to prohibit this house. This house is like a sacrifice. It doesn't say your house. It says this house. Or this property that I purchased, if he dies, Shimon, or he sells it to someone else, then it's usher, because it doesn't matter, because it doesn't have to do with Shimon's ownership. It's always going to be prohibited. Okay, let's leave it over here.
That's it?
Yeah.
We're half an hour ahead.
Yeah.
That was all.
Great job. Great job.
Thank
Okay.
you, Shakaya. Have a great Shabbos.
Do you know the Department
Safe
of
travels.
Law today?